Okay, I'm kind of heading out of the VMware Explore. It's day 3 now, and I've got to be on my way. So heading down the hall and thinking I do actually have something interesting to say about AI, which surprises me because I didn't think I did. So let's think about it. A bit of a so what on the AI thing. It's how it becomes relevant to infrastructure people, which is, of course, this is an infrastructure related conference, so I guess it's not particularly surprising I have that epiphany. In other news, I've also probably missed my bus, so the navette vehicle that would take me to the airport, but so I'll probably be jumping on the metro. So what is it then? Well, from an infrastructure perspective, the generative AI, because that's what we're talking about at the moment, which is how to use specific kinds of models on the pools of data that we've got already and make sense of them in certain ways. It's going to have two main impacts. One's on the data and the other's on the processing. So we can divide it into those two areas. Yeah, so first, where was I? The data, so the whole thing that you can do with large language models and other such generative models is make more use of the data that you've got already. But that's great if it means that all the data is in one place and accessible and usable and not fragmented and all of those things that data invariably is. So before you even know what kind of workloads you're going to be running with your generative AI approach, the first thing that anyone can do is review their data assets and the state of them, basically. So that's the job. The other thing with data, of course, is all those pesky security requirements and new risks that are being created. So the governance aspects, the sovereignty aspects, can you even mine that data for the reasons that you want to mine it? If you find out things about your customers that your customers never wanted you to find out, for example, or other people never wanted you to find out, and that was never part of the plan. And also you might have access to data that you're not supposed to be mining in this way. So all of that also needs to be reviewed and considered. You seem to have sent me along the longest walk through Barcelona airport. I didn't know Terminal 2 was quite so long, quite so thin, and did I mention quite so long? Going to Gate Y, and all I can think of is, why is it so far away? If you are working on your existing data assets, even if they're in a really good state, you're not necessarily, well, you're definitely not going to want to be looking at them using the live data. You're more likely, indeed, kind of obliged to take a copy of the data so that you're not messing with live data right now. So that's probably enough about the data. So then what about the infrastructure? And there's choices. You can run stuff on your own servers. You can run stuff on other people's servers. But you're going to be running stuff somewhere. And it may be that you've got capacity on your servers, and the new models that are starting to emerge require more manageable processor scale and size. Let's say they're just basically smaller. So there's more of an option potentially to, if you've got spare capacity, to use some of that. But otherwise, you're going to be either building out or turning to the cloud providers or other hosting providers for your processing needs. Here we are. I guess see, it's white. I guess ultimately it boils down to getting your data in a state of order and in a way that you can deliver it into processing, and then processing it in some way which means you're going to be managing those new workloads. And if you strip it all back from an infrastructure perspective, ultimately it's about the workloads that have emerged from seemingly nowhere. So even with whatever the business needs are, you're going to be having to cope with new workloads, at least as your organisation tries to make sense of how it can benefit from these technologies. So there you go.